So as in the last session we have discussed a different kind of classification of wasteland properly there, and the continuation with that we will start the things accordingly, right? So up to this point we have already discussed, right? In the last session we have finished till degraded pasture. Right, so in the last session we have already discussed the degraded pastures, what is pasture and how we can reclaim that pasture, all kind of activity that has to be done there, that has been discussed, right? So continuation with that we will discuss. First we need to understand this another kind of wasteland, right? That is called degraded land under plantation crop, right? So we need to understand this, what is the meaning of that. So as you look at the name is degraded, so the degradation may be through some man-made activities or through the natural process. And basically what kind of degradation that one should see, there is a soil erosion, there is a loss of water, right? And there is a process of sometimes a desertification, so the land is get degraded, fine. Then on that particular land basic, and you have just see the plantation crop, so after that the reclamation method has to be adopted. Then here, since the term plantation crop is there, so meaning of this here, this plantation crops are basically those crops which is grown for commercial purposes, right? Have you get that? So this in the plantation crop are grown for commercial purposes, and then because of that monoculture, you can easily understand, since one single species has to be grown, so monoculture practice, and because of this monoculture agriculture, the soil makes deficient in some specific nutrients, right? Some specific nutrients, and when there is a loss of nutrient, and because of that continuous monoculturing, right, there is a loss of nutrients, and which is result in a loss lower the soil fertility, and because of that those land become a wasteland. Try to understand properly, right? That's why the term is a degraded land under plantation crop. It means whenever there is any kind of monocultural practice is there, so because of monocultural, so since if you are raising any species X, so X requires certain specific nutrient, isn't it? And because of continuous practice of monoculture, that particular nutrient of that soil, right, is going to lose during the time, right? So that particular soil become deficient in that particular nutrients, and because of that the soil is going to lose its fertility, right? And because of that the land becomes degraded, and in the long run it become a wasteland. Have you get the concept here, how this degraded land under the plantation crop is there? Right. So after that, now need to understand the sand and coastal desert riverine, that also we need to understand here properly, what does it mean here, right? So just you look at the image itself, the name is sand, coastal, desert or riverine. So basically if you look at the image, so there are these are the certain land which has accumulation of sand, and generally in the coastal area, or if you look at where this river banks, so in the river banks of the coastal area this kind of accumulation of sand has to be seen there, right? And because land has a variation in the size, so you also see this kind of sand formation also variation in the side itself, right? And these kind of lands you are able to find basically in the desert area or river beds or along the shore. That's I told you, that's why the name coastal, desert and riverine has been there. So again I am repeating what kind of land it is. So basically land is there because of accumulation of sand, and which part of area you will find this kind of accumulation. So either you can find this kind of accumulation in the desert area, or the riverbed area, or along the coastal area, right? So this area you will find this kind of sand accumulation there. And if sand accumulation will be there, so obviously that part of area is not properly culturable. It means it is very difficult to carry out any kind of plantation activity or any kind of agricultural practices in that particular area, right? So now the question is, then how is supposed to mitigate this kind of problem there, right? So there is a formation of dike, right? There is one formation of dike is there. This dike is one for that has been made by certain it is a kind of concrete structure, you can say that. So there is a formation of dike on the banks. So when the formation will be there, so because of that activity, the chances of this sand accumulation can be minimized here. So generally this construction of dikes is there that has been parallel to the shore line, right? And it is made up, obviously it is a kind of concrete structure, and that things has to be made nearby the bank, and that is going to reduce the any kind of accumulation of sand there, right? So as I told you, it is a river, so it may be river bank you can build this dike, or if it is a lake or the ocean, whatever be the water bodies are there, this dike formation can be there, right? Then we have this coastal land. You just look at the image itself again. Coastal land, and is the accumulation of certain kind of sand is there, so coastal sand. So coastal sands are basically sands that are accumulated along this sea coast. You can look at there along the sea coast because of the action of sea water. Try to understand properly what is this coastal sand. It means the area which has this kind of accumulation of coastal sand. It is a kind of a strip. You just look at the image, it's kind of a strip, and you look at all this color and everything, and the formation will be along the sea coast. And why the formation? Because of the action of sea water. Action of sea water, this kind of coastal sand has to be formed there, and this coastal sand has no use at all, and even for the recreation purpose it can't be used there, right? Then we have a desertic sand, right? So desertic sand basically where you will find this kind of condition there. So you will find this kind of condition in arid zones. Arid zones means where the rainfall is scanty. It means either there is no rainfall at all, or the rainfall is minimum, right? So this kind of desertic sand that you are able to witness. And why this kind of desertic sand has to be there? So because the movement of air, right? Because of the movement of air, the transportation of soil has to be takes place from one place to other place, and because of that this desertic sand has to be formed here. Again, listen carefully how this desertic sand has to be developed. So this has been developed as a result of transportation of soil through aeolian process. Aeolian means movement of air. Through this desertic sand has to be formed there. Then we have a riverine sand. So this kind of formation you will find where there is a flood. If because of some reason if flood is there, so when the flood is over, you will find this riverine sand on the bank of river there, right? And generally you will find this kind of a structure in Indo-Gangetic alluvial plain. It means either in the Bihar or the Bengal, certain part of West Bengal and certain part of UP, you will find this riverine sand, because these are the areas which is very much prone to the flood. So when there is a flood, you will find the deposition of this sand. So this is called riverine sand here itself. and obviously when the sand is get deposited, so again there is no use of that land, so that land can be become as a wasteland, right? Now we have a mining or industrial wasteland. So obviously mining industrial, you people already seen, maybe some of you are belong to this either the mining area or industrial area. So what the mining process is there? So basically in the mining there is a extractions of minerals, and as the result of extractions of minerals, right, the waste debris is already accumulated nearby the area, isn't it? So it may be accumulated on the surface, and all these are the result of either the manual or mechanized operation, isn't it? And sometimes if there is a large scale quarrying is also takes place, and because of that the because of that the whole area becomes wasteland. And the reason is very simple: accumulation of waste debris, right? And all this waste debris come from the soil excavation process, right? Because the mining is there, and mining, what the things has to be done, we have to extract the minerals, and for extracting the minerals we have to excavate the whole area, and because of that we get different kind of debris that has to be accumulated here and there in nearby the area, and at the end of the day the whole area become a wasteland, right? And then obviously if you have an industrial area, so you also have seen the result of industrial area there, right? In generally the industrial area, what is happening there? So whatever be the waste material that has been there in the industry, that should be deposited nearby certain area, or if there is any kind of effluents also that's released in certain water bodies, and also this another kind of waste has to be dumped here and there, right? So because of this waste either from the mining activity or from the industrial, that has been result in a wasteland formation. Fine. Then you have this barren and rocky area. So obviously this area, if you look at the image itself, these areas occur on the basically isolated hillocks. If there is any isolated hill or hillocks, you are able to see that, or and also it is a steep slope, so you will get this kind of earth structure there, right? So first the steep sloping area will be there, and then isolation should be there, and particularly this area has devoid of any kind of soil or vegetation cover. Either there is no soil or minimum soil, or vegetation is also negligible there, right? So these kind of areas barren and rocky area, right? So this will also become a wasteland. Wasteland means again the land cannot be utilized as per its potential, or land has no use at all. So that is barren or rocky area. Then we have a snow covered or glacial area. So obviously those area which is those area which are under perpetual snow cover, it means that it is always covered with the snow, and obviously this area is very much confined to the Himalayan region, you know that. And this kind of mountain peaks have a and high slope, and most of the time the snow deposition is there. So again there is no any kind of cultural practice has to be conducted there. So it is also one kind of you can say that it is one kind of wasteland, right? So these are the different wasteland that I have already discussed with all of you. So now if you have any question you can ask, but before going to that, so now we can give two more categories to give, to arrange all these wasteland. So there are one cultural wasteland. So this gully, the sloping, the things that I have discussed with the shifting cultivation, degraded land, these are the cultural wasteland. It means that can be reclaimed by doing certain kind of or taking certain measures, right, or by doing certain kind of constructive activity by the human, that things can be restored, the wasteland can be managed there. And there are some non-cultural wasteland. So barren rocky area, steeply sloping area, snow covered or glacial area, it means here nothing can be done there, so no reclamation or any kind of activity that cannot be proceeded here, right? So whatever be the classification we studied, that we can put all the classification in two categories, either the culturable wasteland or non-culturable wasteland. Now if you feel any question up to this point, first to ask a question, then I'll discuss with the reclamation process, some general reclamation process. Is there any question up to this point? You can ask first. Right, so wasteland reclamation, so how the reclamation can be done there. So either the topography and soil management, then water management, the crop management, right? Either we can use only one mechanism or we can use all three mechanisms to reclaim the wasteland. So let me discuss with you one by one. So this is the soil management we have. So in the soil management we have to do this kind of practice there. So first is filling of gullies and leveling. So gullies, you have seen that the small channels has been found because of soil erosion process. So filling of gullies and leveling means you have to fill that gully with stones, right? Stones, pebbles, boulders, you can fill that small channel with those things, and because of and what the result you say that, and through this the area has become compacted, and through after that you have to do the leveling, right? So leveling of land should be done, and when the leveling has been done there, what the result that you get through the leveling, after the leveling the chance of erosion become minimum, right? Because if leveling is there, though, that is going to stop the any kind of runoff, and if runoff will be less, so erosion can be minimized there. Second things that you can do in the same gully area is you can change the course of water, or you can make a small check dam, right? And apart from that, you can also plant grasses or some other kind of thorny bushes along the water course, and all these activities is going to stop the soil erosion. That is filling of gullies and leveling. So filling means, again I am repeating, you are filling stones in gullies, right? And then you have to label it. So that's why filling of gullies and leveling there, right? And then you have a terracing. So terracing means, you have already I have already shown you this image there. We are making a small level terrace to hold soil and water there, right? And when the terrace has been made, so that has to be inward slope. It means let me show you something. If this is the slope, and if you are making terrace, so terrace should be inward slope. It means slope should be like that. You are not supposed to make this terrace like that. You have to make like that. So inward sloping. So what the advantage for that? So when there is a rainfall, or when the water has to flow from this, the water gets certain time to store here, and at the result of the infiltration process will be there, right? First thing is that, and then after that the bank of the terrace has to be made firm. How you have to make firm? By placing stones or by placing certain vegetables or grasses, right? And through this you are able to fix the terrace properly. So it is going to help to reduce the soil erosion also there, and the advantage there, it is going to increase the process of infiltration, so that if infiltration will be there, so you will get delayed water supply in that particular area, right? Then scraping is another soil management activity. So in scraping, what the thing has to be done there? So basically in this technique, where first you have to understand where you can use this technique. So if the soil is covered with 2 to 3 centimeter thick layer of salt, listen carefully and try to understand. If the soil is covered with 2 to 3 centimeter thick layer of salt, then we can use this scraping method. So by using the spade, we are scraping the salt from the soil surface, right? but there is one restrictions. This is possible only for the small scale or the small area, and it's not possible for the large area at all. Fine. Now we have a flushing. Again, flushing I have already explained to you in the previous session also there. So again I am repeating that. So first, where you have to use this flushing, so we can use this method only for that kind of land where soluble salt, so listen carefully, where the soluble salt is accumulated over the land surface, right? And how this soluble salt has been accumulated? So because of the evaporation of water on the soil surface, there is salt deposition, and the salt is soluble to the water. So in the flushing, what the things has to be done there? You have to fill that area with water, and you have to allow that accumulation of water for few days, right? And then you have to check it that how much salt has been dissolved, and after that water has to be removed from the surface, right? And here one precaution has to be taken in flushing, that water should not be made to stand for long time, because if it is a long time, the salt can leach down to the subsoil. So we have to check the things properly. So when you find that the salt is dissolved with the water, you have to remove the water, or you can say that you have to flush the water from the surface itself, right? So is it clear up to this flushing? From filling to flushing I have explained you soil management technique. Is it clear, or is there any question in any term? Is there any question in turn from anyone? Now after that, what the next soil working is the deep ploughing, right? Deep ploughing. So first we need to know in which land we can do this deep ploughing activity. So basically the land where there is no crop for long time, right? And if there is no crop will be there, then what the result will be there? So soil become hard. Soil become hard because of trampling of animals, or you can say that settling of soil particles. So since soil becomes hard, so deep ploughing is there, right? So ploughing should be done some you can say that ploughing should be done deep, so that the soil is get opened, and if soil is get open, then the soil is able to absorb the moisture from rain, right? And when if you are doing this deep ploughing, so you get some other advantage. What the advantage there, that through this deep ploughing method you are able to remove weeds, stone and pebbles too. So deep ploughing is required. So again I am repeating, you can do this deep ploughing area where there is no crop for long time, and because of that soil get settled, or the surface become hard. So when deep ploughing will be there, so the soil surface get open, so moisture can be absorbed, and also through this process there is a removal of weed, stone and pebbles, etc. Then we have this drainage, right? So drainage means you have to make certain arrangement to stop the water logging on any surface, right? It means certain subway, certain channel has to be devised, so that excess water can be flow from that particular area. So that is drainage. Then you have this addition of green manure and soil amendments. So where we can use this addition of green manure or soil amendments? So basically those soil which is low in organic matter or certain nutrients, or certain deficiency of nutrients is there. So in that particular kind of soil we can use this green manure there, or in this method what the another things can be, we can raise those crop which is able to fix the nitrogen, or the nitrogen fixation crop has to be used there, right? So through this they are able to fix the atmospheric nitrogen, also going to add the organic matter to the soil. Even you can add some chemical like calcium, or you can use gypsum in the soil, so that the nutrient level of soil can be increased, right? and if you are going to add the lime, so lime is going to reduce the soil acidity, right? Now wind breaks. So first what you need to understand where we can use the wind breaks. So basically those area where loose dry sandy soil is there. Listen carefully, loose dry sandy soil. So if loose dry sandy soil will be there, and if there is any high speed wind has to flow, then what will happen? That is going to help the movement of soil from one place to other place, and the area becomes useless for that particular process, right? So in that particular area this wind breaks has to be made there. Wind breaks means it is a kind of on the boundary we can raising certain forestry species, so and in the opposite direction of the wind, right? So on the boundaries of wasteland or the any bank of water course or the agricultural field that where this where there is a chance of erosion is there, we can raise certain forestry crop on the bank, and through this this become one protective layer, and if there is a wind flow, either the wind flow can be minimized or it can be diverted to some other direction there. And generally you can see what kind of species has been selected there. So generally the poplar you can see there, sometimes you also see eucalyptus or the neem, sesame, bamboo can be also raised on the on those areas, right? And through this the velocity of wind can be minimized, and if velocity can be minimized, so soil erosion because of wind process can be reduced there, right? Then you have the silt trapping dams. So how the silt has to come? So when there is a flow of water from upper area to the down area, and there is no proper vegetation is there, so obviously the water has to carry the soil from upland to the down area, right? So how to what the measure has to be taken to curtail those kind of activities? So we can make big or small dam of reasonable height, right? Small dam has to be made in between of certain height, or as per the flow of water, or as per the steep, and on the basis of that the height can be decided. And these check dams can be constructed against the movement of water. So what the things will be there through this? If you are making a check dam, then water has to stand near those traps for a while, and the silt particles has to be settled down, and if these things will be there, so you are able to again reduce the soil erosion. Rather than contour furring and bunding, so obviously this method is adopted for slopy wasteland. In the slopy wasteland, in the same altitude, this we can use certain kind of vegetation, or we can constructing certain kind of field in such a way so that the infiltration process can be increased there, and if infiltration process will be more, so water conservation can be channelized in that particular area. And then you have a mulching. You all know that properly. Mulching means you are covering the surface of soil with a dry grass or polythene, or if even use some certain kind of chemical is there, right? And through this we are able to check the soil erosion and also suppress the emergence of weed. So through this process, all this process from filling of gullies and leveling to the mulching, right, the soil can be managed. And when the soil can be managed, so those wasteland which has a problem related to the soil, so the wasteland can be improved for future use, right? Then we have this water management. So here the addition of water irrigation, conservation of water, protection, removal of excess of water is to be there. Fine. So how the water management can be there? So first, addition of water irrigation. First you need to understand what is the meaning of this. So addition of water to agriculture of vegetation is called irrigation, that you all know that, right? And then irrigation of soil moisture is important. Why it is important? Right? So that the land productivity can be maintained for long time, right? So soil moisture is important, or the soil must have a certain amount of moisture always, right? So it is going to sustain the land productivity. So there are various methods are used for irrigation depending on the soil type. What is the soil type is there, you can use various method of irrigation. So some of the irrigation method that you all listen, we have a sprinkler, we have a drip irrigation, isn't it? We are making small channels in the agricultural field, and the addition of water can be made there. Then you have a conservation of water protection. Obviously we have to make certain arrangement like that. For example, you can make bund, you can make a pit, right? Even you can devise a small dam properly there, right? So the water can be hold there. Even in the slopy area, for example, this area is sloping, so we can make a graded bund there, right? Graded bund there. So through this again you are able to reduce the what I am saying, reduce the runoff, and if reduction of runoff will be there, so water can be stored for few times then, and water can be stored, which result in infiltration and delayed supply of water can be channelized there, right? Then you have this removal excess of water, drainage. As you know that drainage means we have to make certain protection measure to avoid any kind of water logging in certain area, right? So that drainage has to be there. Drainage means we have to make certain kind of structure, or either the or you can use certain machines to remove the excess of water from the surface itself. So generally you have seen that pumping out, we have using the pump set to remove the excess water, right? And if it is slopy area, so slopy area you can easily understand the water can be flow down by the gravity there itself, right? So these are the water management related to the wasteland. Is it clear? And then we can also have certain kind of crop that can be used there, right? You people already heard that Aula or Jatropha plantation is there, or even you can use fuel wood plantation or the wasteland. So generally if those area or those land which is not suitable for agricultural practice, or those wasteland which can't be converted into agricultural practices, so that area this fuel wood plantation will work. We can raise that fuel wood plantation, and the wasteland can be reclaimed properly, right? So this is all about for this wasteland classification and reclamation, right? So now if you have any question related to that, you can ask here.